Welcome back, friends. In this video I'm going to show you how to take our site and then install Internet Information Services. It's basically a web server from Microsoft. It's free, it's powerful. When we launch sites in Visual Studio, we get to use IIS Express, as you have seen by now, and to be honest, its performance can be a bit unpredictable from time to time. What we're going to do instead now is use the more full-featured version of Internet Information Services, the regular IIS, okay? So I'm going to show you how to configure quite a few different things. So begin with this project, and what you want to do is just, for the sake of simplicity, copy it to your C drive. If you have it somewhere in some kind of remote drive, sometimes that causes all kinds of errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the name of the website here, and then I'm going to go to Open in File Explorer. These are all the files that make up the website. And what I'm going to just do with these is the following. I'm going to do Control A on my keyboard, and then right click, and then just copy all those files. And I'm going to copy them to my C drive. So let me just open that up here. I've got it open already. Where is that? Over here. This is my C drive. In my C drive now, I'm just going to make a simple folder that I can access very easily. So I'm going to call this one here the data entry site. I'm just going to put all the files in there. All right, so paste in all of the project files. Give it a second here, and they look like this. So we have directly on our C drive, we have a folder named the data entry site, and within that we have the files that make up the project, content scripts, default.aspx, packages, style sheet, web.debug, and website. Yours should look very similar. And remember, if you at least are using Windows 10 the way I am, if you click on some of these, on the right side you'll have a preview pane. It just gives you a text version of everything that we've created. You see that? That's all there. Same thing with the default.aspx. It just gives you a text version of the C# you have created. And same thing with the style sheet, and so on. Some of them won't open on the right side in the preview pane. That's okay. Not important. All right, I hope you've got that. All right, so you've got this saved. Now to make use of it, you will take these steps. Take a look. Well, first of all, you need to extend your computer with new features. I'm using Windows 10. I'm going to type here the following. I'm going to type Windows features like that. And you should see something similar come up that says turn Windows features on or off. So you click that, Windows features. Give that a little bit of time to come up here. There it is. And make sure that the following is available on your computer. You see where it says Internet Information Services? Expand that node. Just make sure you select everything basically. So, I just click that and I select everything. So Internet Information Services. If you look through the nodes a little more carefully, it's going to give you all kinds of details. So for example, here we have .NET Extensibility 4.6. We have the application initialization, ASP.NET 4.6, ASP.NET 3.5. Make sure you've got those selected definitely, okay? Those basic things. Same thing with the web management tools. Just make sure that yours, as much as possible, look just like mine. So pause if you have to and make sure that happens, okay? After that, click OK. And again, I'm not going to go through the process because I've done this obviously before, but you might be prompted then to wait a little bit. Just follow the prompts as they appear online and make sure that you have this installed by the end. Internet Information Services, okay? All right, I'm going to click OK here. Now, we've taken our project files, copied them to a local folder that is easy to navigate to, and it's not any kind of remote folder, because then authentication issues can arise and all kinds of little things like that. That could be problems. At the next stage, I'm going to type this. I'm going to type IIS in Windows 10. And once you have Internet Information Services installed, you should see something that looks like this. So then just click that and bring it up. And this is the panel that controls IIS. You can do a great number of amazing things here, but we'll do just one that's practical to get a website up. So expand the node on the left side, and you see where it says Sites? Right click on Sites and then click Add Website. So we'll just add a new website, that's all. Give it some name, so I'm going to say, for example, data entries, like that. For the physical path, click there and then you navigate to where you have the files saved on your drive. Yeah, that's why I always go with something easy that I can reach fast. Data entry site on my C drive, see? And then click OK. Easy. Now, down below it says binding to the type. You can have HTTP or HTTPS. HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's the basic one, unsecured. Keep that in mind. HTTPS is like it, but it's secured. It's different. So you should usually see HTTPS when you're logging into a secure website using credentials of some kind, right? You definitely want to see HTTPS because then things are encrypted and it's more sophisticated, more powerful, and better protection for your identity and all that. So, but for our purposes, we are doing this on our home computers. I think we can trust ourselves. So I'll go with HTTP. IP address all unassigned. That's fine. You can just leave all unassigned. For the port, most web servers listen on port 80. Okay? So you just leave the default setting of 80. Remember, it's not a physical port on your computer. You don't have 80 holes on your computer where you can plug something in. It's a logical software port for a web server, port 80. All right, let's see. For the host name, here you can type in whatever you want. For example, I'm going to say dataentry.home. Okay? So these are the fundamental settings to get the website. Then just click OK at the end. That's good. So make sure you've got this new entry here in IIS. All right, so you've got everything configured, and what we want to do next is modify our host file so that we can, for example, type in dataentry.home and resolve that to the local web server. So to do that, take a look at what I mean here. I'm going to open up Notepad, and then right-click on Notepad and run it as an administrator. So depending on the computer you are using, if it's at work, for example, and you don't have the right level of permissions, this might not work. But if it's like your local computer, then obviously you usually have the highest level of permission, then you should be able to run Notepad in administrator mode. So I'm going to run it as an administrator. And what we want to do next is open the host file. And you'll see exactly why in a second. So just go to File, Open. And where do I find the host file? Well, look very carefully up there. It says C:/Windows/System32/drivers/etc. or etc. And the host file, as you can see, doesn't appear by default. So you want to just show all files here. And then select the host file like that. Okay, I hope you've got all of that. I'm going to click Open that. Now what you want to do is, I'm going to erase it for a second. Down below here in the host file, you want to add a mapping between the IP address and dataentry.home. This will help to resolve the address correctly. So when I type dataentry.home, it will resolve it to the local computer and get the web page from the server. All right, and again, if you're not logged in under administrator mode, you will not be able to save this file because this is like a system level file, so just be aware of that. File save. I can save it because I'm an administrator here. All right, I hope you've got that. And make sure that the aligning, right, just for the sake of ease, just make sure everything's neatly aligned and formatted here. All right. I'm going to close that. All right, at the next stage here, take a look. I've got that, I've got that, I've got that. I'm going to give this a go here. So I'm going to right click on data entry and then go to manage website and then go over to browse dataentry.home. And it says /:80 HTTP. So remember, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's a stateless protocol, which means the following, that it doesn't really remember between calls to websites what's happened on the previous one. Okay, that gives rise to a whole new issue, right, with carrying information between web page requests. That's something different. So I'm just going to launch this. All right, let's see what happens over here. I'm going to open it up, make sure that everything is found, and we have a problem. Now, I deliberately did not show you in advance how to fix this. I want to show you that it rises first and then how to fix it so it's more meaningful. So it says here the server principal IIS app pool data entry is not able to access the database MyDBase under the current security context. We need to fix that. So I'm going to take that text that you see there and just copy it. And then we're going to paste it into SQL Server so we can give our website permissions to access the database. So let me close this. In the next stage, go into SSMS like that. So this is back to SQL Server Management Studio. And the next stage, we're going to configure the login so the website can communicate with SQL Server correctly and so on. So let's take a look. Make sure that you expand again the server. And then this time, don't expand the databases node, expand instead the security node. And you see where it says logins, right click and make a new login. So we're making a new login into the server. This login will be designed to allow the website to access the server database. All right, good. For the login name, just paste in the thing we've just copied from the site. Like that. I hope you've got that. Now, the next stage in the process, go to server roles, and you can leave that as public, that's fine. User mapping, select my DBase. Remember, for the purposes of our little site, we used my DBase as the database. And it says the user now, as is shown here. That's good. Down below for database role membership, you can select data writer and data reader, that's fine. Click OK. And then obviously what you can do is always, disable one, run the site again, see what the effect is, and then keep experimenting to learn more. All right, this is good for our purposes. I'm going to click OK. So expand the logins node for a second and make sure that you see it. So on the bottom I have it now. IIS space app pool / data entry. That's good. The question is this enough? Well, let's take a look. I'm going to take this site. I'm going to navigate to it again. So I've got it here, right? This is the old page. I'm going to try to reload it. All right, the site loads. That's good. All right, so I've got permission in that sense. All right, let me try to add an entry here. So let's see. Choose that. All right, enter email. So that's not really important. Some entries. Okay, and then hit submit. Oh, and now we have another error. And again, this is proving that the try-catch we built into our C# is useful. The execute permission was denied on this object, insert proc, database, my DBase, schema DBO. All right, we need to fix that, obviously. So let me pull that down. Let me open SSMS again. And this time, do go into the databases node, expand my DBase, and go into the programmability folder. And then right-click on the name of the proc that we created at the beginning of this entire project. So right-click there, and then go over to properties on it. So make sure you bring up the properties for the stored procedure we created at the beginning. And again, so we have got some general properties here. Those you can leave as they are. The permissions, well, we need to set permissions so that the stored procedure can be called right from the website. So hit search here, and then further hit browse. And from this new object panel here, select IIS app pool. Make sure that's checked. So IIS app pool, make sure that is checked. Where it says browse for objects, and then click OK. And then click OK. Make sure it shows up at each screen as you work back towards the first screen. Click OK. And lastly, we've added the data entry site. Now we can give it permission to take control of the stored procedure in a variety of ways. So for our purposes, I'm just going to say the one that says execute. Okay, just grant execute. That's it. You can execute the procedure through the site. And then click OK. I hope you've got all of that. I know it's a lot, but again, practical stuff. Click OK. And now let's take a look at the next stage. So go back to the site for a second. This is the original information. I'm going to submit. And it looks to be adding it, you see? Now there's one more thing here is that message there. See how it kind of stays? So clearly that would have to be fixed. Maybe it's something for you to consider doing on your own as a small project. All right, I'm going to just update my information one more time. All right, make sure Jerry at jerry.com. Stick in some date. Good. Hit submit. Notice that it's being saved now. Okay, make sure you can delete. So delete, very good. All of this is confirming that everything is working nicely, except the little label, so that's something for you to consider fixing. And remember that here to navigate to the site, I typed dataentry.home, right? Because that is how we decided in IIS that we would navigate to the site. And make sure in the hosts file you map the local IP address, which is usually 127.0.0.1, to that address in the bar. Okay, otherwise you might get errors. So I'm going to just shut this down. And that is it. So thank you, and I'll see you next one.